Now, coming up, let's reflect on this one. Our debate this hour. Several large charities have resumed door-to-door fundraising despite criticism of the practice. Figures from the Chartered Institute of Fundraising show the number of direct debit sign-ups on the doorstep is on course to double pre-COVID levels this year. So our question, should charities use door-to-door fundraising? We're joined by the writer and charity founder, Nick Buckley, and the Director of Policy and Communications at the Chartered Institute of Fundraising, Daniel Frusky. Welcome to you both. Daniel, we'll start with you. I mean, charities, they can be expensive to run. They've got to get their money from somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, fundraising is really the way that charities can do the good that they do. The way that they provide their services is through being able to reach out, to engage supporters, to ask for supports, and doing that door to door in some cases works really well for certain charities. And without being able to have that direct conversation, we simply wouldn't raise the types of funds that we need to be able to deliver the services that so many communities and people around the country rely on.
Nick Buckley, you've had to raise money for a charity. Is there an honourable and a dishonourable way of raising that money?
I'm not sure I'd use that term. But as an instinct, I've never liked charities knocking on doors and asking people to sign up or to donate on the doorstep for several reasons. You know, it can be classed, it can be quite intimidating if you're old, you're vulnerable, you have special needs. It's never sat well with me. And the charity I used to run, we never did it and we never would do it.
Daniel, there was a sort of reaction against what I think became known as chugging, didn't it? That idea of being press-ganged on the high street by people who, not always, but sometimes we were told, effectively working to a commission, and you felt perhaps that there was a sense in which they were trying to get signatures on a piece of paper and as many of them as possible. That generated some bad publicity. I'm guessing as a sector, you are clearly aware of the downsides.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the really important thing is that whatever type of fundraising you're doing it respectfully, that you're doing it politely. And just to respond to what Nick said, I think if there was any sign that somebody might be vulnerable, that they might be struggling to make an informed decision about a donation, then the fundraiser should walk away politely. They shouldn't ask for that donation. So it's all about engaging the public well, engaging them appropriately, and doing that with respect. And there is a code of practice for fundraising which goes above and beyond the law, and all charities should be fundraising in a way which hits all of the standards that we expect of them and the public expect of them.
Yeah. Nick, is there any difference between somebody coming around shaking the tin or trying to elicit a direct debit donation to a charity and somebody just, cold calling, trying to flog you double glazing? I mean, do you find both those things objectionable, or is it specifically this idea that somebody's trying to raise money for a charity, and if you're old or vulnerable, you perhaps feel that you better give to that in a way that you wouldn't feel you'd give money to the double glazing salesman?
Yeah, I class it all in the same category here. I don't want people selling double glazing knocking on your door, and I don't want the charity sector knocking on your door. Before I worked for the charity sector, I was involved in crime and disorder, and one of the issues we were trying to deal with was distraction thefts of people knocking on a door, and then their colleague would go around the back and break into your house, or someone turning up at your doorstep saying, "I'm from the water board, I'm from the gas board, you may have a leak, let me in, it could be dangerous." And I really have concerns where we're then sending legitimate people around, decent people collecting money for charity, and that then sends the message out to the criminal fraternity. All I have to say now is I'm working for a charity. Who's going to turn me away? And then we always have unscrupulous people working for every company, every sector. I'm not saying this is the charity sector. So, you're an unscrupulous charity collector, you want people to sign up. It's so easy to say, so you're telling me you don't care about children being abused? You don't care about Africans starving to death? You don't care about dogs dying in pain? Is that what you're telling me? And there'll always be those few people who will hit their targets and make a fortune on commission who are doing it the wrong way. And like I said at the beginning, none of this sits well with me.
Well, as Daniel Flusky makes clear, his industry, no, his sector, try to make sure that those bad practices
Yes.
are not remotely common. Nick Buckley, Daniel Flusky, thanks both very much indeed for your thoughts.